Hang in
Dude,
there. It is.
that Smylie Kaufman for 61. Wow.
I'm Smylie Kaufman, and this is The Smylie Show.
Welcome to another special edition of The Smylie Show, one that we are very excited about. First and foremost,
this is not a green screen. It's not a green screen.
This is not. We're not wearing like green suits and it's all filled in and CGI in the back end. I mean, we're together in the same place, which always we enjoy from a show perspective, show quality perspective. I think. Let's see. We get the next couple weeks, but is this best show background to date of the year?
Very well could be. Very well could be. This is, we're very lucky that we're here on Monday in Memphis at the first FedEx Cup playoff event. And if you remember last year in Memphis, how hot it was, dude, it's 74 degrees right now. I mean, just the absolute perfect. Some would call it golf weather. I would call it the perfect podcast weather because this is absolutely great for us. We could have been dying right here out in the heat, but this is off to a good start here in Memphis.
This is an outdoor podcaster's dream. If it was last year, I think we would have had to wear like full khaki outfits in honor of Lucas Glover, umbrella hats, maybe a full Canadian tuxedo just to really give you the full sweat effect of the outdoors. But
the only thing we're missing, Charlie, is just a big plate of barbecue right here.
Oh,
because what time is it right now? We're recording at almost 2 o'clock. You haven't eaten lunch.
Have
you had some ribs right here?
Very hungry. Could go for some ribs. I also got a hot tip on here from your buddy, Alex Sullivan.
Oh gosh.
Jerry's Snow Cones Wedding Cake Supreme. Do you know about this?
I don't know about this.
Sounds amazing.
I did not think Alex would make it onto the podcast today, so that reverse cash that ticket.
That's big. Yeah. So as mentioned, we're here. This is the 18th green at TPC Southwind. We're on site this week and the next 2 weeks in both Denver and Atlanta for the rest of the FedEx Cup playoffs. So fired up for that. We got a great guest joining us today, Nick Dunlap. Our third recurring guest on the show, so looking forward to chatting with Nick about what a wild year it's been, his sort of path to making it to the FedEx Cup playoffs after winning an event as an amateur, and lots to dig into today. But the place we got to kind of start is recapping the last regular season event of the year, the Wyndham Championship at Sedgefield in Greensboro, and boy, what a wild week. Start to finish, but we had like a biblical flood sort of scenario happening with that hurricane to start the week. Play delayed until Friday morning, 18 Friday, 18 Saturday with a few left over, and then for some, Luke Clanton played 39 holes on Sunday.
Insane.
We're
gonna
unpack so much of that, but I think where we got to start right is the Rye guys.
The Rye guys.
We finally got it done. The Rye guys got it done.
Technically, we didn't get it done because, as most of you know that follow the show, we give one and done picks every single week. We also give 3 suggestions from Charlie and I. So we have a total of 8 players that we suggest. And as I was going through with my chicken scratch notes and trying to figure out who I want to suggest, I knew I wanted to take Billy Horschel. He had a nice week, finished in top 10. And I had Aaron Rye penciled in, but I had just picked him so many times and suggested him so many weeks in a row. I felt like, I need to find another guy. And so I saw the chicken scratch off of Rye. So if we need to show and check the notes, I can definitely bring that up if there's some haters in the chat that say I didn't actually want to pick Rye. But
I mean, I have a time-stamped screenshot of a text I sent to my buddies where we kind of make some gambling picks each week. And I said, I think I had 2 guys that maybe did not play well, but Aaron Rye is my third. I said, final answer, guys are going to drive the ball straight. It's going to be ball in hand, great ball striker. And he did not place that bet. So, Andrew Yarbrough, you owe me some money, maybe a nice dinner, maybe put my kids through college. That would have been the big ticket. But, I mean, for Rye, is a season where he's played phenomenally well, especially in the summer, been a phenomenal ball striker.
That's an understatement.
Yes,
it really is.
Somehow still an understatement with how well he's played. Just kind of taking stock of the ways he's improved, because he's always been a good ball striker, but really just making some clutch putts down the stretch. I know he's not like the greatest putter on tour, but just making putts when he needs to, it's been a huge improvement. and now rolling with some momentum into the FedEx Cup playoffs. Like, what are you seeing from him this year that has really kind of taken him to the next level?
The reason why early in the year that I started to do more recon on Aaron Rai was because I had an opportunity to watch him at the Sony Open this year, and I got moved to his group on a Thursday or Friday. He was playing with Austin Eckroth, so two players that have had nice years. They were both feeding off each other, playing well that day, and for whatever reason, it was a shot on the second hole, and the wind had just kicked up. A storm was kind of brewing, and Aaron Rai laid back on this second hole and pulled, I thought it was probably a 4-iron, hit this, and really the second hole at Sony, you're hitting 3-iron, 9-iron into this hole, or 3-wood wedge, and so he's hitting iron off the tee and then hitting 4-iron into the screen, which nobody ever is hitting 4-iron into the screen, and he hits this absolute stripe right at the hole, and I was like, man, What am I missing something here? Like, that was just absolutely great, and he hit it well the rest of the day, and should have had a better week if it didn't putt it well. And that's when I started noticing the trend of Aaron Rai, which is, okay, he makes a ton of cuts, he tries to get himself in contention, but the putter always seems to kind of hold him back. So I think as the year went on, the big breakthrough for him was at the Rocket Mortgage. He had just gone and met with John Graham, got some work done with his putting, and on greens that are Poana that were bumpy, maybe not the best putting surface that guys have for making tons of putts on the year, Aaron Rai goes and just starts hooping. And he started making putt after putt at Rocket Mortgage, and then really through the rest of the summer, the John Deere was another week he played really well. Really just any week in the summer, you turn on the TV, and Aaron Rai was on the front page of the leaderboard. So it wasn't surprising to see him win because it felt like he had played well enough throughout the year to have already won. And I thought the best thing that I heard on the broadcast was from Trevor Immelman. He said the ball striking stats, when you talk about strokes gained, he named 3 players. He said, this is not surprising. These 3 guys are tee to green the best players. You got Scotty Scheffler, Xander Schauffele, and Rory McIlroy. He said number 4 on that list, Aaron Rai.
Wow. Is he talking about metrics there or eye test?
No,
for him?
metrics.
Metrics.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a shock.
Stats.
It's facts. Straight hashtag facts. I know we're a year away. Like, we're still waiting for a President's Cup to happen here in about a month and a half. But just really doing the long preview for Ryder Cup.
I was thinking about that.
Because you just don't know. I mean, who knows what's going to happen between now and then? It seems like obviously guys on the team, Rory said as much out loud that he wants Jon Rahm to be there. I'm assuming he feels similarly about Tyrrell Hatton. But, depending on how that whole thing shakes out and how they're going to tabulate world ranking points for the LIV guys and what picks they're going to use, he could very easily, he could qualify for the thing.
Oh, 100%. Aaron Rai could easily qualify for the Ryder Cup. I think that Luke Donald is, I think you got to give him, all the credit where credit's due when it comes to picking a team, because I thought, beginning of the year and halfway through the year, I thought the Europeans were going to be, really lacking depth on that team, but that team really started to round into form as we got approached the Ryder Cup, had a bunch of youth on that team, so we'll see who ends up making that roster, of how much of that team will stay intact from the Ryder Cup in Rome. But man, Aaron Rai just seems like he would be a really nice fit for a day of alternate shot.
How do you think 2 gloves, iron covers, and deliberate pace of play are going to do in Bethpage? Think that's going to go over? Think that's going to go over well with that crowd?
I think, I'd spoken to Keegan just briefly just about him getting picked, and we were talking just about the logistics of the Ryder Cup as far as, how much beer is being served, because I was like, man, are they serving liquor out there? I was like, I think just in the suites, because if they gave liquor to the crowd, I think you would have an issue. So we were already talking about this in advance of how crazy New York crowd's going to be for the Ryder Cup.
I'm sure Keegan's got to be thrilled for the atmosphere he's about to walk into as a captain, which is going to be super cool. Second item I have on this list here, Smylie, just says Cooch Chaos.
Wait, did you spell chaos with a K too?
I should have. That's a big miss. I'll make that correction. Like, you're having to put a lot of faith and trust in us. We're telling you that we were picking Aaron Rai on notes you can't see or text that we sent. But I have Cooch Chaos here. What's it make of? Because I actually saw an interview this morning my granddad sent me where Kuchar was explaining a little bit more of his side of things. And so, because the first inclination I have is like, dude, the tour bent over backwards to get this thing done on time.
Russell Wilson listed as quarterback 1 on, of course, every team's got to put out these dopey unofficial depth charts before their preseason games. Wilson listed as 1, but Fields is going to start the preseason opener against the Texans.
I still think they're going to start Wilson, but, if they start Fields, so be it. Like, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. I know this. I think they're both talented.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
What is the ceiling for this kid? Now that he's got the money, and we saw something click with him, what is the ceiling for a Jordan Love in this Green Bay team?
Deepest pass target group in the National Football League. 2 stud tight ends. They're legit 5 deep at receivers. 7 bona fide pass targets, Joe. Come on, man. This guy could be a stud. Top 5 quarterback.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Say the under has the correct juice to the 6.5 win total for the New York Giants. It's a losing season. It's a bad season in the greater New York area. Is Brian Daboll and is Joe Shane back next year?
As a Giants fan, what are you looking forward to? Absolutely nothing. You're hoping like the Yankees make a long enough run so you can forget about the Giants.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Let's go.
Welcome to the Live Golf Team Championship.
The golf has been mesmerizing.
They are the Live Golf Team Champions.
Team golf is back.
Oh, yes!
Are you ready?
Let's go!
That's what champions do.
That would have been the big ticket. But, I mean, for Rye, it's a season where he's played phenomenally well, especially in the summer. Been a phenomenal ball striker.
That's an understatement.
Yes,
it really is.
Somehow still an understatement with how well he's played. Just kind of taking stock of the ways he's improved, because he's always been a good ball striker, but really just making some clutch putts down the stretch. I know he's not like the greatest putter on tour, but just making putts when he needs to, it's been a huge improvement. And now rolling with some momentum into the FedEx Cup playoffs. Like, what are you seeing from him this year that has really kind of taken him to the next level?
The reason why early in the year that I started to do more recon on Aaron Rye was because I had an opportunity to watch him at the Sony Open this year. And I got moved to his group on a Thursday or Friday. He was playing with Austin Eckroat, so 2 players that have had nice years. They were both feeding off each other, playing well that day. And for whatever reason, it was a shot on the second hole, and the wind had just kicked up. A storm was kind of brewing, and Aaron Rye laid back on this second hole and pulled, I thought it was probably a 4-iron. Hit this, and really the second hole at Sony, you're hitting 3-iron, 9-iron into this hole, or 3-wood wedge. And so he's hitting iron off the tee and then hitting 4-iron into the screen, which nobody ever is hitting 4-iron into the screen. And he hits this absolute stripe right at the hole, and I was like, man, what am I missing something here? Like, that was just absolutely great. And he hit it well the rest of the day, and should have had a better week if it didn't putt it well. And that's when I started noticing the trend of Aaron Rye, which is, okay, he makes a ton of cuts, he tries to get himself in contention, but the putter always seems to kind of hold him back. So I think as the year went on, the big breakthrough for him was at the Rocket Mortgage. He had just gone and met with John Graham, got some work done with his putting, and on greens that are Poana that were bumpy, maybe not the best putting surface that guys have for making tons of putts on the year, Aaron Rye goes and just starts hooping. And he started making putt after putt at Rocket Mortgage, and then really through the rest of the summer, the John Deere was another week he played really well. Really just any week in the summer, you turn on the TV, and Aaron Rye was on the front page of the leaderboard. So it wasn't surprising to see him win, because it felt like he had played well enough throughout the year to have already won. And I thought the best thing that I heard on the broadcast was from Trevor Immelman. He said the ball striking stats, when he talked about strokes gained, he named 3 players. He said, this is not surprised. These 3 guys are tee to green the best players. You got Scotty Scheffler, Xander Schauffele, and Rory McIlroy. He said number 4 on that list, Aaron Rai.
Wow. Is he talking about metrics there or eye test?
No,
for him?
metrics.
Metrics.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a shock.
Stats.
It's facts. Straight hashtag facts. I know we're a year away. Like, we're still waiting for a President's Cup to happen here in about a month and a half. But just really doing the long preview for Ryder Cup.
I was thinking about that.
Because you just don't know. I mean, who knows what's going to happen between now and then? It seems like obviously guys on the team, Rory said as much out loud that he wants Jon Rahm to be there. I'm assuming he feels similarly about Tyrrell Hatton. But, depending on how that whole thing shakes out and how they're going to tabulate world ranking points for the LIV guys and what picks they're going to use, he could very easily, he could qualify for the thing.
Oh, 100%. Aaron Rai could easily qualify for the Ryder Cup. I think that Luke Donald is, I think you got to give him, all the credit where credit's due when it comes to picking a team, because I thought, beginning of the year and halfway through the year, I thought the Europeans were going to be, really lacking depth on that team, but that team really started to round into form as we got approached the Ryder Cup, had a bunch of youth on that team. So we'll see who ends up making that roster, of how much of that team will stay intact from the Ryder Cup in Rome. But man, Aaron Rai just seems like he would be a really nice fit for a day of alternate shot.
How do you think 2 gloves, iron covers, and deliberate pace of play are going to do in Bethpage? Think that's going to go over? Think that's going to go over well with that crowd?
I think, I'd spoken to Keegan just briefly just about him getting picked, and we were talking just about the logistics of the Ryder Cup as far as, how much beer is being served, because I was like, man, are they serving liquor out there? I was like, I think just in the suites, because if they gave liquor to the crowd, I think you would have an issue. So we were already talking about this in advance of how crazy New York crowd's going to be for the Ryder Cup.
I'm sure Keegan's got to be thrilled for the atmosphere he's about to walk into as a captain, which is going to be super cool. Second item I have on this list here, Smylie, just says Cooch Chaos.
Wait, did you spell chaos with a K too?
I should have. That's a big miss. I'll make that correction. Like, you're having to put a lot of faith and trust in us. We're telling you that we were picking Aaron Rai on notes you can't see or text that we sent. But I have Cooch Chaos here. What's it make of? Because I actually saw an interview this morning my granddad sent me where Kuchar was explaining a little bit more of his side of things. And so, because the first inclination I have is like, dude, the tour bent over backwards to get this thing done on time with a hurricane, tropical storm, whatever it was coming in, to get the 18-18-36 finish. And you were the last guy that needed to finish it up so that everyone could get done and move on to Memphis for the guys that were going there. And those guys could leave anyway. It didn't really affect the outcome of the tournament. But, your first inclination is like, come on, buddy, just finish the hole. Now, he said a little bit of, it wasn't explained to him that Rai had birdied ahead, and he thought Grazerman still had a real legit chance to go to a playoff or win the tournament. He thought they were going to have to come back on Monday anyway. And so, I don't know if that makes it any better in your opinion, but just your reaction to the way that Kuchar decided to finish Sunday and a little bit on Monday as well.
Well, I think the big argument made by a lot of fans and media was that there wasn't necessarily anything on the line from their perspective. Now, I think Matt Kuchar would offer the opposite of that, is that he's 46 years old. From where he stood, going from 12th place to 22nd place, yeah, maybe not the money is not a big issue, because $50,000 would have been the difference. Or let's say he makes a double, then probably closer to $75,000 difference. But, I always give the benefit of the doubt to the player, whether they feel like they should finish. They have the right to. If they're not, if they're told, hey, you don't have to play because of sunlight, I think you should always give that to the player. I think what's in question now is just the history, right? I think people just have had issues with things that Matt has done over the years, whether it's the caddy in Mexico, is kind of the top of line thing that people think of. But, if you replace Matt Kuchar with another player, I think maybe the conversation's a little different.
try and set the stage for what should be a great year of NFL action.
There's a handful of teams that potentially can compete for a Super Bowl championship.
Confusion and uncertainty this year more than some in the past.
This team looks like it's ready to make a move, but we just don't know if it's bad or good this year.
J.J. McCarthy is eventually going to take over, but it's a no-lose situation for them.
I mean, they suck. They were 7-10.
Only on SportsGrid.
I'm talking about playing Keontae George, Taylor Hendricks, Isaiah Collier, the rookie, Cody Williams, the rookie, Bryce Santamore, second year, maybe keep it Walker Kessler. That means either Danny Ainge thinks that they're going to be a championship team in 3 to 4 years, or he's going to wait 1 year and he's going to trade Lauri Markkanen and he's going to get the farm.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Say the under has the correct juice to the 6.5 win total for the New York Giants. It's a losing season. It's a bad season in the greater New York area. Is Brian Daboll and is Joe Shane back next year?
As a Giants fan, what are you looking forward to? Absolutely nothing. You're hoping like the Yankees make a long enough run so you can forget about the Giants.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
The bottom of this field is a bunch of guys, quite frankly, that aren't on the tour, aren't on the DP tour, aren't on the Korn Ferry tour.
You know, the top 25 or so in this field, I mean, you've got Rory, you've got Lowry, you've got Scheffler, you know, all four Americans, Minwoo Lee and Jason Day. And you go to Mito Pereira and Joaquin Neiman out of Chile. So, you know, it really is pretty deep.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
He's trying to win the golf tournament on Sunday. Kuchar wasn't in it, so he has a different perspective that maybe Max Grazerman did. And maybe it was a veteran move of like, hey, you know what? Every shot does count. And hey, let's say it comes down for Matt Kuchar in the FedEx Cup fall. Let's say he doesn't make a cut and it comes down to one shot. And
that's a good point.
And he keeps his card for the top 125 because he did make the jump from, I think it was 113 to 103. So he made a 10-spot jump. So he's got, 17, or let's see, that was not good math. He's got about 22 spots of comfort. That took me way too long. I haven't taken math since LSU freshman year, so
I didn't take much of it there either.
Yeah, that's a good point. But if it comes down to one shot, which we've seen a lot of times it has, I mean,
that's something I hadn't even thought about until right now. Is we're so focused on Wyndham being that 70 hard cut line that you. So wait a second. A lot of these guys have to go and play the whole fall to finish top 125 and keep their playing status that way. So that's a fair point. I mean, I think that the optics aren't good on it. Either Matt Kuchar doesn't have the internet or doesn't care about the internet, and in either case, congrats to him, because it's like a walking meme. It's and all the past stuff, it's
if you just take away what you set up the whole conversation with, which was it was a very challenging week for the superintendent, the whole staff at Sedgefield, just to get this golf course playable. I mean, there were holes out there that I sent pictures of. The 7th hole looked like the 17th hole at TBC Sawgrass. It was an island green, and same with the hole before it at 6. Where the whole fairway was covered with water. So to make this golf course playable and actually finishing on Sunday was an incredible feat. Now, the tournament didn't finish on Sunday. It finished on Monday because of Kuchar. But I think it's something that was obviously just made an event that much crazier because the chaos that we talked about with Matt Kuchar also. We talked just briefly about Max, but that was the story of the day, which was a 4-shot lead with Max Grazerman.
Well, and let's get right into that because it looked like he holed out, was that 13 or 14 for Eagle?
To get
21 under, 13. And at that point, you're thinking 4-shot lead. I think we're still at 17 at that point. And you're thinking this thing's done. And I was, flying here to Memphis, so I was like trying to catch up and get like the weird thing on the plane where you're not going to pay for the internet, but you get the iMessage, so I'm getting updates from you and Jax. You're like, this thing's getting crazy. Like, how? You had a 4-shot lead. And so, you know, when Kuchar talked a little bit about that, where does he 4-putt, you know, if it's ladder outside, I don't know. I mean, it's easy to play Monday morning quarterback on that now, but what we do know is that, and this is, you know, twice now where he's handled defeat exceptionally well, and clearly he's got the game to win on tour, you know, and so I think that, you know, however it shakes out, he made it here this week. He's in this field.
Yes.
And he's got an opportunity to make some noise in the FedEx Cup playoffs and get himself into signature events next year.
Yes, Max Graysman, I thought he handled yesterday with tremendous class. You know, it was not easy to be in the arena like that and handle the adversity. He could have easily shown a bunch of emotion. There's, you know, he didn't have to do the interview after the round with Amanda Balionis. He could have said, you know what, I'm good. I'm out of here. And he had every right to say, you know what, I don't want to talk to the media after something that maybe as a former player you can consider to be, you know, embarrassing that you didn't get the job done. You know, I thought he held his head high, you know, tremendously to where he was very poised in his conversation. I think he acknowledged the mistake that he made, which was on the 14th hole. You know, bad drives happen, and we don't like cart pass on golf courses because for somebody who tends to be a little off with the driver, that cart path has a magnet for my golf balls. And his ball hits the cart path, goes OB at 14. So that happens, right? Like he makes one poor swing, but where he compounded his errors was he hits it in the left rough next, and there's a cross bunker on the 14th hole. So if you did watch it, bear with me, but if you didn't, he had an opportunity to either take on this cross bunker and push it up short of the green to where he had an opportunity to get up and down and make a 6, but instead he tried to challenge it because he didn't want to make a bigger number. The rough was just sinking to the bottom, hits it into this bunker, and unfortunately ends up chunking it out, chipping up, not getting up and down, and making an 8. He acknowledged his mistake. I should have wedged it short of the bunker, had a good opportunity to get up and down. He just holed out on the previous hole with the wedge and making an eagle. So who's to say he wouldn't get up and down for a double bogey? So there's 2 shots there. And then quickly on 16, you know, you talk about the 4-putt. Would it have happened if it wouldn't have been, you know, as late in the day? I think that's part, you know, it's tough to read greens late in the day.
What has happened? What has transpired here at the First Bank Center here in Denver, Colorado? It wasn't just a big night of fights. It was a big night of memorable moments.
Conor McGregor with us here in Denver, Colorado. Good left hand from Rockhold. Right hand right back from Mike Perry.
Can I get a face-off with Conor McGregor, man?
It's an incredible setup here, incredible matchmaking, incredible storytelling. Oh, you had to come here. All these fighters that step in here are warriors, and all have my respect. And I'm into this game, yeah. We'll be into this, yeah.
And we are live here in the Maverick Center here in Salt Lake City, Utah, folks. What a night. It is going to be historic indeed for BKFC 56.
Whoever's the king of violence right here, this is going to be a great fight.
Perry on the turn. Right hand from Mike Perry. Double jab. Who's the king of violence? I am!
Combat fighting in its purest form, bare knuckle fighting in the city of angels.
80 seconds remaining on the
We've got the biggest announcement in the BKFC history we're about to make, so let's make that announcement.
What's up, Knucklemania? The notorious Conor McGregor here. Ladies and gentlemen, the huge announcement that I have for you today. Conor McGregor, myself, and McGregor Sports and Entertainment is now an owner of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Welcome to the big leagues. David Feldman, baby, we did it.
He's now an owner of BKFC with us, and we're going to take this motherfucking thing all the way to the top now.
Dunlap here. It's a really fun conversation. Nick joins us to talk about everything from recapping his entire year to setting goals for next year. Maybe a little Bama football in there.
Just a little.
Just a little bit of Bama football. But yeah, we won't waste any more of your time. We're going to get right to that conversation right here on the 18th at TPC Southwind with Nick Dunlap. All right, we are back on the Smylie Show, and as promised, a special guest live here at the 18th green at TPC Southwind. We have Nick Dunlap, who is currently 67th in the FedEx Cup. He's 42nd in the world, and you might be looking at that and saying, where's the discrepancy there? Well, if he would have earned 500 points for winning the American Express, he'd be about 35th in the FedEx Cup standings. So yeah, he's where he is. You made the playoffs in your first year as a pro. I mean, a pretty incredible timeline. First thing we got to congratulate you on, though, is you're now the third recurring guest on the Smylie Show. Congrats. It's you, it's Justin Thomas, and it's Jordan Spieth. So
number 3, baby.
In addition to everything else you've done, you've got that as well.
I appreciate that. might be my biggest honor.
I tell you what, Nick. I mean, I really am impressed though with just the stats that Charlie just told us about. You being 67th in the FedEx Cup, I think is such a great accomplishment, right? Starting the year with 0 points right after you win the Amex. I think it was going to be a heavy climb just to get to this point. You have to be very proud of being here at Southwind.
Yeah, I mean, even after Amex, like you said, I played poorly at Pebble, played poorly at Genesis, didn't have a good Florida swing. So after, I think it's the Players is the last. No, I didn't play Valspar, but Players is the last of the Florida swing I played. I had like 25 points or something. So that the goal of mine was to make the playoffs, and obviously now I have to rewrite some of those goals. But no, happy to be here.
Understandably so. And Nick, I mean, you win the Amex, so all of a sudden you got to make life decisions. You got to decide: do I want to go back to college? Do I want to go and accept the PGA Tour membership? So I know that was a difficult decision, but kind of an easy one after when it all gets said and done, to chase the childhood dream that you know you had.
Yeah, we almost saw it last week or last couple weeks with Luke. But yeah, college was a big dream of mine. I'm playing for Coach Sewell. I'm playing in Alabama, but my end dream was to play on the PGA Tour and be out here and play against the best players in the world. So as much as it kind of sucked to forego that, it was easy but difficult decision to do that. But happy to be here. I mean, the consolation prize was to turn pro, so it was pretty good.
Nick, I saw you in Pebble right after the Amex win, and just you were talking about the whirlwind week that was and trying to make that decision. Also, this is a complete aside, but I saw your name joining the show today, and I was like, man, those sand dabs we had that night are really good. Like, I can really go for some sand dabs now. Yeah. So that has nothing to do with anything we're discussing here, but just figured I'd mention. But just that week and that process you're going through, in this first year as a pro on tour, you've obviously played high leverage golf, competitive golf for your entire life. So a lot of this has to feel, not entirely unfamiliar. What in this year has been the most maybe unexpected adjustment you've made to life as a PGA Tour pro?
The amount of golf you play. I think Smylie can attest to that. He plays so much golf. I mean, it's August, and I'm already like, man, I'm looking forward to a break. I mean, it's getting used to a schedule out here. I'm so used to practicing at home for a week. You got to figure out time to practice, but not wear yourself out when you got 3 and 4 weeks in a row on the road. And there was a couple parts of my game I wanted to see get better, and one of them was driving the golf ball, and one of them was chipping. I feel like I'm getting slowly progressing in those categories. I think in amateur golf, it doesn't. You don't get as penalized hitting it offline, and you can kind of play from out of the rough. And here it seems like every week it's like, all right, if you're out of the rough, you're not really going to score that ball. I mean, you can figure out a way to get it around, but you're not going to contend. So I think that was something that I really needed to get better.
And how much of that, you're talking about obviously a lot of on-the-course stuff. Was there an off-the-course adjustment process where you have to build like a team around you? There's all sorts of things you have to think about that are beyond just trying to get the ball in a hole for 4 days of the week.
Yeah, I've had to deal with a couple of challenges I didn't think I'd have to deal with, but yeah, it's. I didn't realize how many different parts there was to professional golf. I didn't realize that, like you said, you have to form this team around you that can handle all your stuff going outside of golf that you may not have to spend energy on, and the less amount of time you can do that, the more amount of time you can spend doing time what you love to do, and that's playing golf. So that's been a little, I've had to play a role in who I select and on what parts they're going to help with. So that's been a little difficult. But I always thought, with this PGA Tour University, which hopefully we get to talk about that.
Oh,
but
yeah. I think we will.
I thought I would have some time, and I'd have 2, 3, 4 months, and I'm gonna be able to plan this out and have time before I turn professional. I didn't think I'd have 4 to 8 hours, so it was that part was a little challenging, but yeah.
Do you think learning on the fly has been beneficial, or do you wish you had more time to plan out? Just like, am I ready? Just all the steps that you take. You talked about the driving, the chipping. Do you feel like learning on the fly on the golf course against the best players in the world has been more helpful for you long term?
Yeah, I think it's hard to see it sometimes, especially I hear the margins are so small. As you know, it's like I feel like there's a lot of weeks you're at 2 or 3 under, and you're like, man, like I'm 2 good swings away from being in 10th and 2 good swings away from going home. So it's or 2 bad swings away from going home. But it's it's taught me a lot about not necessarily letting the result dictate how you're feeling. I think even last week, I feel like I played some good golf. I got 1 bad break and made triple and 1 sloppy 3-putt, and those are my only 2 over par holes, and I just didn't really make any putts, and I ended up missing the cut. So it's like,
that's how it goes.
Yeah, it's like the result's bad, but I didn't feel like I played that poorly. So it was trying to progress that way. But yeah, I think it's tough in the moment to be like, yeah, this is easy, but I think 2 years down the road looking at it, I'm going to be in a much better position than where I would have been staying in college and trying to get better that way. So.
And as rookies, I think preparation is something that we all know that PGA Tour players do. Like, it's something that I think is assumed by fans that everybody does work hard. But there's certain categories that guys are in that guys that are the better players that have been out here a while, they get the pro-am spots, they get the good times.
Yeah.
But for you all year, you've been learning new golf courses, not in the pro-ams, and you're traveling to new cities, you don't know where the locker room is. Even today, had no idea where the 18th green is.
I didn't know where it was.
Every week is a new experience for you. How difficult has that been? How excited are you for next year to finally know where you're going?
Yeah, very. And the golf courses. Like,
right.
It's funny, a lot of the time, it's either Sunday evening or Mondays when I travel. It's like, all right, well, if you count up all the Mondays, like a lot of these veterans get out here Tuesday. It's like, if you count up all the Mondays that you're, using throughout the year, like that's a lot of days you could spend,
Yes.
resting, whether it's practicing at home, whatever that is. And I remember coming from Reno, I was, we missed all day Monday. Monday was washed because the flights, Delta was all messed up.
Oh, that was a crazy travel deal.
Had to fly out, didn't get in until like 6 o'clock on Tuesday. And then I was the second to last pro-am tee time, and I was third off in the morning on Thursday. So it was like...
What would that pro-am tee time have been? That's like a 4...
No, it was later than that.
It was
almost
than that.
5. It was like 5:30. We didn't get off the golf course till almost didn't leave until 9.
And then you're teeing off.
And then we teed off at like 7:14 or something on Thursday.
Oh, man.
So that was... but yeah, I mean, you kind of get thrown into the deep end a little bit, and you learn from it, and you learn how... Hunter's really good at it, but I'm not that great at learning courses on the fly and learning, whether you look at it once or you don't get to look at it. I'm getting a lot better at that. I used to, in college, you look at it 1 or 2 times and you have coaches telling you where to go. So it's that's been a little bit different.
And Charlie, I saw Nick Dunlap in the airport. This was leaving the Travelers Championship. He was heading to Detroit. I was heading home. And I look over there and he's got about 5 bags he's checking. And he looks over at me and says, hey, where you heading? I'm like, I'm going home. He's like, all right, never mind. Because the lady behind the desk at Delta is about to just it's like, hand me all your credit cards. I'm about to absolutely take you behind the woodshed.
Yeah.
So what was the total in the bag there
it
that week?
was, I think it was almost like $300 for... I mean, you have like 2 extra bags plus like your overweight bags, and yeah, it was a mess.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Let's go. Welcome to the Live Golf Team Championship. The golf has been mesmerizing. They are the Live Golf Team Champions.
Team golf is back.
Oh, yes!
Are you ready?
Let's go! That's what champions do.
Fun new trick on this week. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna start Nick Dunlap Media LLC.
All right.
You get these media baggage credentials, and they charge you like half of the baggage price when you go past the allotment.
Yeah.
Like they were gonna charge me $125 a bag.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I had all these media badges. They charged me $75. So I think really the play for you is you get a bunch of
yeah.
you know,
Or-
we can save some costs here.
Have you heard about Holka?
Oh yeah, the massive bins.
So
I need to do
Holka
that.
is a guy that travels week to week out on tour, and you can buy a bin, and you could store things that you would
Really?
already
Okay.
need out on tour. So shoes, people put their clothes in there, like just regular golf clothes, and I had a bin for the years I was out here, and just would make
Sounds amazing.
travel so much simpler. Where
Yeah.
Nick had
I
like
know.
5 bags, I'm
I
like,
know.
oh, poor guy.
And the tough part is like one of my bags is like half of it's all my fishing stuff. So I got my fishing pole. I got all my extra crap in there. So it'd be nice if I could just
You got
have
Sheldon's
that
pole in there, too?
delivered. No, I don't.
What's the best fishing stop you've had tour stop wise this season? Have you found like any new ones where you haven't gone before?
I guarantee you this is a good one.
This gotta
this
be
is
it.
probably. I didn't
3M
get to,
would be my guess.
well, I didn't get to fish because we got in super late on Tuesday. Played.
Players to be a good one.
Players was a good one. I can't remember where we were. It was up in. I fished in Rhode Island. It was only a couple weeks ago. Was it the Travelers? Maybe it might have been the Travelers.
The whole season runs together.
Yeah,
How
it
many
all
times,
runs together.
How many
Yeah.
times have you woken up this year in a hotel and have no idea
I
what
know
city you're in?
Yeah, no idea where you're at.
You're like, I'm in. Where am I?
Yeah.
It's hard enough to keep the schedule straight as it is, but then to do it off of fishing stops makes it
it makes it even harder. I think it was
yeah.
Travelers. Travelers, I went and fished the coast for a little bit, and that was.
Did you?
Yeah, it was really
That's nice.
pretty. It was a lot of fun.
So you kind of noted this a little bit, and hidden underneath that table over there is a gasoline tank for Smylie's flamethrowers of takes on the PGA Tour U topic. So I'm really excited to get into those. But
all right, let's hear it.
Just curious, your opinions on obviously what you did, what you were leading into. You win, you have the decision to go pro off of that, so it's simpler for you. But what we're seeing from Luke Clanton and others, you know, guys who are very obviously tour caliber pros. I mean, Luke's had 3 top 10 finishes this year, 2 of them top 5s.
Yeah.
And where he currently, I think he's at 13 points currently of the 20 he needs. I mean, do you think, we've been kicking around some ideas, do you think the system should be adjusted, or do you think it's fair how it is?
I don't want to be too harsh on it. 'Cause it did give me the platform to go out, and that's the reason I got the Amex start was because I pitched that PGA Tour U. And for one, I think it's the whole idea of it's unbelievable. Like it's giving us an easy way to get to the PGA Tour. And I wouldn't say easy, but it's giving us a way to get to the PGA Tour.
Better pathway, right?
Yeah, and whether that's Korn Ferry, whether that's Canada, it gives us, we don't have to go to Q school, which is great. Something that...
Yes.
Yeah.
Q school's not fun. Not great, Bob.
And hopefully I don't have to go to Q school. But I do think maybe the points, there's a way to... Because I was talking to Smylie, there's going to be a time where these high-end college players don't play college events. They're just going to chase the PGA Tour stars, which I was on that track. I probably would have done the same thing. I think some may question it. I think it's a lot easier to come out here and make a cut and get a point than it is to go and try to win the Western Am and get 2 points.
Interesting.
Like it doesn't. Yeah. I think, especially if you are a high-end player, if you can get these spots off sponsored exemptions, I think it is the way to go. Like, you go and win the USAM. Well, that's 3 points. Like, I think, you might could attest to this.
Yeah.
I think it's easier to make 3 cuts out here than it is to win the United States Amateur.
Yeah.
I think,
100%.
So I would do the exact same thing. Now, I don't know if there's a way to elevate that, whether, like you said, top 10 I think should be more than 1 extra point. So I think if you gave 2 points, like an extra point on top of that, I think Luke would probably already be there.
And we're with you on this. I mean, the system in general, we support the PGA Tour U. We think it's a great pathway for college guys to go play well, earn their way on. But with the way things have changed in the professional golf landscape, we just think maybe just a re-examination of somebody who's like, well, maybe we need to look at, hey, a top 5 might be worth a couple more points when you look at it against, hey, what else are they comparing the points to? But we'll get off that subject because we don't want to get you in trouble, and we don't want to get in trouble either.
We like all of us to leave this set not being in trouble. Yeah.
But one of the questions I had cooked up here is that, when you win the Amex, now you're in a category where you're playing with other winners, you're playing with top tour talent, and when it happened to me, I embrace the opportunity when I play with these players to try to pick their brains a little bit, just about anything, whether it's, hey, this is what did you do down the stretch? Did you do X? And I'm just curious, was there any advice that you picked up on from a certain player this year that stands out that you've been able to implement throughout the year, or maybe something that you're going to use in years to come?
Yeah. That's a really good question. I don't know if anybody's asked me that. That was a good question. I would probably say Will Zalatoris, honestly. I played a practice round with him with the players, and I don't think it was necessarily what I asked him. I think it was watching him and how he prepared for that tournament. It was very structured. Scotty's very similar in that. He's like, I think Teddy helps him a lot with where to chip from. They have the app or something where you can see stats from years previous and where to, it might be the percentage of making a birdie may be better from the right rough than the left rough, so you're aimed another 4 yards right or whatever that is.
So, like, you feel like they had a plan when they showed up in a practice
100%.
round? Where you're like,
100%.
Where for a rookie showing up, you're just like, well,
I hate practice rounds anyway.
Let me learn the holes, you know?
Yeah.
But these guys are already looking at hole locations, pins on Sunday, and where to chip and putt from.
Yeah. So I think, Will had a very good, because I hated practice rounds in college. I hate them here. I just don't like practice rounds. But seeing how he prepared, and there may be a couple, whether it's 2 or 3 shots a tournament, where it's like there's this left pin. It's like, man, I didn't really get to look over there. Like, is that bad? Like, can I attack this pin? I don't know. And there's that little uncertainty that maybe I should play a little further right, and that could be a shot or two a tournament.
That's interesting.
So just seeing the way he kind of talked about it, seeing the way he practiced, where he putted from to these certain holes, it was very, very eye-opening for me.
Charlie, are you familiar with PGA West, where he won the MX?
Yes, absolutely.
So are you familiar with the 16th hole there, that par 5 with the big bunker left? When he talked about a left pin that you weren't sure about, it's my rookie year on the 16th hole. I never in the practice round went down in that bunker.
I went down there.
And I'm hitting my second shot on Sunday. I'm like 7 under, playing great. Hit it down in the bunker, and I get down there, and I was like, Holy.
Let's go. Welcome to the Live Golf Team Championship.
The golf has been mesmerizing.
They are the Live Golf Team Champions.
Team golf is back.
Oh, yes!
Are you ready?
Let's go!
That's what champions do.
What is the ceiling for this kid? Now that he's got the money, and we saw something click with him, what is the ceiling for a Jordan Love in this Green Bay team?
Deepest pass target group in the National Football League. 2 stud tight ends. They're legit 5 deep at receiver, 7 bona fide pass target deals. Come on, man. This guy could be a stud. Top 5 quarterback.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
It just goes to show you how special this guy is, and I can't figure out why he doesn't cut through like the Tiger Woods of the world in that kind of dominant fashion in years past.
He stepped up to the tee box on the 14th hole, and he was 60-1 to win that golf tournament. You know, he was trailing by 6 shots, and he comes out on top.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
However many units are on the line, however many people, however many cocktails, like it's a perfect scorecard. And someone questioned him on one hole. He's like, well, one thing I never get wrong is the scorecard. And then we're on like 13 and he's added up and he's like, this is wrong.
I looked back from number 13 and I'm like, I'm missing $140 somewhere. I don't know where I'm missing it. And I'm looking back and I'm like, no, yeah, it doesn't match up on 11. And I got to track it back to like number 7.
Only on SportsGrid.
Like that, and just, you know, or maybe some younger guys as well, just a mix of guys, give them some chance to play their way in, you know, play their way into a swing 5 category or a next 10 category or whatever it is. But I'd say overall, like, you know, that's a good first year for the signature event program.
The sponsors invites didn't bother me at all this year. I understand they went to players like Webb Simpson. I think he got one in just about every one. Like next year, Ricky's going to get an exemption into just about every one, and he draws a crowd.
Sure.
He draws a crowd, and he's been great to a lot of these events, and they want him back. So why wouldn't you want him there? And I think that that sponsors invites get so debated by people, and there's 4 of them, right? Like maybe there should be more. That's a debatable topic, but they can do whatever the heck they want. And it's been a little political at times. The Pebble Beach one I thought was a little political, as it was very policy board. You know, Maverick McNeely, Peter Malnati being 2 picks. They were like, wait, hold on. Peter Malnati got picked over who? Right?
Yeah.
That was like that was one where I can understand the debate, but yeah.
Well, and I think in some of those guys, you know, you got to cash in on those. Adam Scott, I believe, inside the signature event list right now, you know, making the most of those sponsor exemptions. So Smylie,
it's a big week. That's why this is a big week.
This is a big week, and thrilled to see how it plays out. And you know, what do we have? I know you haven't had a chance to fully walk the course yet. I'd say give me your brief course notes, and then you're going to do some walking the next 2 days, and we're really going to dig into it. Here's what I'd love for you to share that I thought was interesting listening to you and Nick talk about was the most crucial tee shots on this course.
Yeah.
Like the moments where a guy's going to have to stand up on a tee and really pull a shot off and make it happen, you know, so you can kind of win this event or get yourself in contention to make it next week past that top 50 line.
You know, TBC Southwind's a golf course that is typically stood the test of time with the growth of the technology boom in the game of golf. You know, when we talk about, we need to keep lengthening golf courses to make it challenging for pros. Well, this golf course hasn't changed anything. Really, like, they haven't lengthened it a ton. What they have done, though, it's a strategical, positional type of golf course where you got to put the ball in the fairway, because the rough is a flyer's paradise, meaning it's hard to get spin on the golf ball coming out of the rough, and the greens are firm. They tuck the pins. So when you have Bermuda rough and you have firm greens, that keeps the scoring manageable. That's kind of the two main things when it comes to, keeping these guys challenged, right? Is making them hit the fairway and then firm green. So you got that out here. You can obviously take it deep out here if you're hitting fairways, but they are narrow. You've seen a lot of players that have played well here are guys that just are able to find fairways. So as I go and check out this golf course this week, I think that'll be kind of the consensus for what I'll try to figure out in my research is, are the fairways firm? Are they soft? Are the balls rolling out in the fairways? Because it could, if the fairways are soft, it brings out a lot more guys, right? But if they're firm, now you're gonna have to really be able to manage your ball out here.
Well, Smylie, starting to get a little warm, starting to get a little steamy, feeling some raindrops out here. I walked 11 minutes from a Holiday Inn Express to a Starbucks this morning for a wrap that I ate at 7:30 a.m. and I'm absolutely running on fumes right now.
He's famished.
Somebody feed me right now. So
Let's get him some barbecue right here.
Give me some barbecue. Give me a snow cone. I'll eat anything you put in front of me right now. I might eat these plants behind you, but what the next time we'll be talking to the audience, people, we're going to be indoors. In the clubhouse here, TPC Southwind. I've got a little sneak peek of the location. It's going to be a really, really cool
Sweet.
setup. So looking forward to that on Wednesday night. That episode will drop with another special guest, potentially recurring guest. But until then, Smylie, what do you want to leave the good people with as we head out?
Ooh, man. Gosh, I need to come more prepared for these because I
always give you a final thoughts tee up. I don't feel like I can close the episode without it.
What did I do this weekend? I played golf.
We might play golf this week.
Yeah, we might play golf this week. We'll see. I am debating on whether I should keep interlock or go back to overlap grip. So that's a big topic of conversation when it comes to my golf brain.
Okay.
So I'll keep you posted on that. But other than that, pretty chill week. Good 2 weeks at home. I'm pumped about being here. This is going to be great. 70 dudes battling for 50 spots in Denver. But I'm also excited for, we got a lot of great shows coming up.
Yeah, thrilled to be on site this week and the next two as well. So hope you enjoyed today's episode, and we'll be back here on Wednesday. Not here in the larger sense, but in a different location here at TPC Southwind for more preview of the FedEx St. Jude Championship. We appreciate you watching and listening, and we will talk to you then.